Part 4, Eggs and Cross-Hatching. Hello everybody and welcome to DC Fine Art. Today we are finishing up this pastel or oil pastel piece. So this is part 4 and our final one. Yay! So I was super excited to finish this one off. So I'm going to go ahead and start with the eggs. As you can see here, I am using a white oil pastel and I'm just kind of mapping in where those eggs are going to go. Now, these eggs, of course, are not going to be exactly perfect, but, I just think it gives it character anyway. It doesn't have to be a perfect egg anyway, at least the way I see it. I didn't really want to put anything, like, extremely detailed, like, as far as perfect egg circles. So these eggs are going to be, I guess, eggs. I don't know. That's hard to describe. So anyways, I'm just mapping them out with a white oil pastel. And then after I get through with doing the white oil pastel, I'm kind of making a little bit of a swoop here. This is where the highlight is going to be. It's going to be on the left side of the egg, because on the beak you got a highlight on his beak on that side, on the left side. So I wanted to make sure my highlight came in on the left side as being the brighter side. So I work in stages. So we have the white, then I go in with like a cold gray, which is, it's very close to a white, but it's not a white. It's like a shade of a gray, like it's a very light gray. So it's a cold gray. Now I don't remember every single one of the colors that I used, but I do know that I worked in stages. Now I did end up putting this color in, which is kind of like a medium gray, or I think there was even a yellow gray that I used, and I didn't really care for it much. So I just stuck with my, the medium gray and like a darker gray. But nonetheless, if you're doing something like eggs or trying to pick out a shadow, even though you put something in there, like I didn't really care for that gray as much as this other gray, it's okay because I went over the top of it and it worked out just fine. So it's no worries there. You can't really tell too much of a difference either. It was just something that I wanted to change up. So here I'm just kind of putting in, and see, I put in one color and I'm like, no, I want to change that to this color. So you can go over the top of it. Now I am laying this on pretty thick. So it is really, really thick. But that's okay, because whenever I take my OMS right here, I am just going to make sure I finish off the edges, make them a little bit smoother going around the edge of the egg. And then I'm going to kind of blend these colors in to where they're a little bit more of a smoother transition, and get rid of any like thick clumps maybe that are on there, because it did kind of clump boy, words are so struggle today. It did kind of clump up in certain areas to where I had like some chunks, and I just wanted it more smoother. So going over it, I just wanted the colors to transition a little smoother and to get rid of some of those little clumps that kind of came off. So all in all, it turned out really good. I really did enjoy doing this part. And for the most part, I'm going to do like the first like 2 eggs, and the rest of them are going to be pretty much the exact same way of doing things with the eggs. Really simple. I started out with the lighter color on the left side and then transitioned over to a gradual darker gray. So here on this little edge here, this is just a little piece of an egg kind of in there, and I put a darker color and a little bit of lighter color. And now I'm coming in with a with my OMS and just kind of smoothing out the edges and making more of a smoother transition on it also. But that egg you can barely see, it's just kind of peeking around that corner there on the edge. So here I am just kind of choosing which grays I'm going to use. I start out with a light cold gray, or like the cold gray. There I think I was just filling in a little bit more of the white too. I do go back and fill in some of the white, but it goes cold gray to a medium gray to a darker gray. It was basically all I'm doing. Shading around on this right side where it's supposed to be darker, because the light I want it to be hitting on the left side of the egg. And here I just kind of chose the wrong color at first, but then I backed away, and it's so much easier just to go over the top of it. It's just fine. There, I'm kind of smoothing out that edge just a little bit more. And there's some clumps in there, of course. But that will go away as soon as I get some of this OMS and just kind of smooth out the edges of these eggs. And there, kind of transitioning the color a little bit smoother on the top. Kind of bringing that color deck down, and I'm going to end up blending out this edge here to make it a little bit more smoother because it is a little rough. And kind of blend these colors in just a little bit better. Yeah. Probably seen some areas there that was a little thick that I needed to kind of blend in. And I'm wanting the lines to go in, like in and around the egg. And so now this is just all going to be rushed a little bit just because it's the same kind of process. Bright white on the left side, and then transitioning from a cold gray to a medium gray to a dark gray on the right side. So this is sped up just a little bit, only because it's the same process that I did on the first and second egg, and it's just repeating itself over again for these two eggs, or two more eggs. Now, while I'm doing these eggs, I just wanted to go ahead and let you guys know an announcement. I guess maybe I may be doing this a little bit early, but it's okay. There will be probably, it won't be this coming week or next week, but I will be end up. I'll let you guys know. I'll let you guys know for sure if you're on my Facebook or MeWe groups. I will let you guys know ahead of time, but I may be changing my schedule around to where it won't be on Thursdays anymore, but it may be on either Mondays or Tuesdays. So there will be a time change on when I'm going to be making videos and putting them out there. Therefore, I'll be free to do a little bit more on my videos on Mondays or Tuesdays, depending on which, but I'm really thinking like possibly on Tuesdays instead of Thursdays. And depending on how everything goes, maybe I might even throw in some, maybe even do some live art videos where it's actually live and we can do a live, like an artist chat and do a live little painting or do one part of it. So I'd really like to start doing that. Frees up some time to where I might be able to do that, to do a little bit different thing, kind of change things up. But I definitely know our Thursdays will eventually be Mondays and Tuesdays. But I will let you guys know if you're for sure on my Facebook artist group, which if you're not, go over to Facebook. And if you're on Facebook, go over to the link is below in the description for my artist group that's there, and I will let you guys know. Or if you don't have Facebook, MeWe, I will let you guys know there too on any updates. So here I'm going to go ahead and do the yellow. I know I was kind of carried away there, and I kind of did two, like a straight across. I did like a medium yellow. I'm just going to say medium because I don't really know the actual yellow colors. And then I used like a yellow ochre, kind of darken it just a little bit. And then I went over it again with the yellow that you see right now, which is more of a, I would say like a medium yellow. And I used an orangey color too on the top. So I kind of used three different colors. I used like an orangey color to start it off with. Then I used a medium or a burnt or yellow ochre, and then a medium yellow. And this is what I'm using, is like a medium yellow, just to kind of go across and making these lines for like this cross hatching thing, where it's like kind of like a picnic table kind of material that looks like, it's got that checkerboard kind of look to it. I call it cross hatching. I guess I should have done the terms a little bit better, but that's what I call it. We're just basically drawing straight lines across, straight lines down, and then we're just going to go ahead and fill those in with little white marks, or white little checkered in between the areas here. Now this here, I'm not making absolutely perfect. I just want it close. I mean, to giving it a little bit of character instead of having it with extreme detail, and having it look like, a piece of material that's there that has the cross hatching in it design. I just really wanted it to be kind of loose on this area also. So close is good enough for me on this part. And here I'm using my yellow ochre again, and I use this kind of like a shadowing. So I'll go in and around the eggs to where the shadow would be, and I'm going to use this to kind of finish off those cross-hatching areas around the edge of the egg. Now what that does is it gives you a shadow, kind of like a shadowy effect of the yellow underneath, to have that shadow of like a darker yellow, or yellow ochre is what I'm using. So I'm going in and around it where the shadow would be, where the egg would be, or the shadow on the right side where it would be the shadow. I guess, boy oh boy, my words are getting messed up. I hope you guys understand. I could try it again, but I don't know if I'd get it right still. My words are perfect in my head. I just don't know why they don't come out that way. But yeah, I'm just kind of filling in these areas just close as I can to the egg without I'm not trying to touch the egg with it, because of course you can get that yellow in there. But then if I do, I just use my clean finger, which I absolutely hate doing, but it does work. Use your finger and just kind of swipe it off, and then you're good. So here I'm lifting up the board so that way I can finish off the edges, lining them up and going through. So now we got this like net-like look to it. And then I'm going to come back in, and I'm just using a little bit of OMS. Now, I didn't go OMS all over this picture. Basically, if I saw some gaps or something that needed to be closed in with my cross hatching, I use my OMS to kind of close in those gaps. Or if there's big like clumps that come off or chunks that come off, I kind of use my OMS to kind of blend those in just a little bit, to where we don't have big rolling chunks on the edge of it. So I don't use this all over the place, just here and there to kind of fill in gaps or take out chunks. So now here comes the fun part. This is where I'm just going to add in the white in between the cross hatching, so that way you got that look like that, kind of like this mesh material look, or not really mesh material, it's more like a picnic table kind of like thing. So I'm filling this all in with the white, and I am going pretty quick on this. It's just because it's kind of a repetitive fill in with white. Now we'll slow it down right in this area, because not only am I using white, but I'm also using like a medium gray to put the little, where the white checkers would go closest to that shadow of the egg. I'm using a gray, like a medium gray, just to kind of go around the edges. That's where the white has a shadow, and then it's going to be more of a gray color. So I'm using my white, filling in all these little holes, and then going around where the shadow is using a gray for the checkers. Now here I'm going to go ahead and fill in these that are going toward the bottom, where I couldn't get to because it was too close to my little like easel. I guess you would call it an easel. It's basically when I'm on my travels, I can put this on my steering wheel and kind of use it to paint on. It makes a perfect easel. I know how to improvise when on the road. So here I'm just adding in more of those little shadows just around the egg. And then I'll come back in with OMS and just kind of, I started to blend some of this out just a little bit. And it was just areas that had some gaps, or, you know, I just needed to fill it in just a little bit. I didn't want to do all of them because it would end up basically washing it out quite a bit, or muting the color quite a bit. And here I'm adding in a little bit more of a brighter yellow just in between, where the light would be hitting a little bit brighter in between the eggs. I gotta watch that brush though. That brush was getting pretty close to my eggs there. Now I'm kind of smoothing out the top. And after I smooth out the top to where it's kind of blended and more smooth across the top, then I'll blend kind of down in between those grooves of the white, so that way it has more of a little bit more subtle transition between that line. Now I will start blending some of the little white checkered marks on the bottom, so that way it's not too bright and it transitions down to more of a subtle color down below. All right, and this pretty much sums up the rest of this painting. It has been super fun to go ahead and do this. And also, I guess a surprise to you guys that I am releasing this video before Thursday, because I do know I owe it to you guys for being on the last video, not getting out until Sunday. But also I want to let you guys know that down below in the description, you can get the reference photo. I will have the link below. It is from Pixabay and free to use, royalty free, from Pixabay. And also below, I have the supplies I used. Also, all the links for my Facebook artist group, my MeWe group, and then links for my website and Fine Art America and the Cash App for any donations. Greatly appreciated. So yeah, I pretty much this sums it up, and I'll see you all next time. Bye, you guys.